There has been a lot of chaos going on in the video game industry over the past couple of years, especially when it comes to layoffs. And right now, we are seeing one of the largest waves so far because Microsoft is set to lay off 9,000 employees today, and they've canceled multiple games reportedly, including Perfect Dark. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, obviously, I don't like reveling in the fact that people are losing their jobs, but on the flip side, if something is just not far enough along or a company doesn't think that they can make money back from it, you have to expect them to go through with employee cuts like this. I mean, they can't maintain tens of thousands of people who are working on only a couple of projects. And yeah, I do definitely think that we have a problem right now in the industry where we've seen too many people be hired for too many different projects, but then things aren't getting done. And one perfect example is with this report that apparently Perfect Dark has been canceled. We saw that well over a year ago. They showed off gameplay at an event and they made us believe that it was almost done. But if they're canceling it and they're firing everybody who was working on it, clearly it wasn't even close to being done. This is an issue that we saw with like Elder Scrolls 6, right? I understand that they had just officially announced it 7 years ago, but they still officially announced it 7 years ago, and we haven't even gotten any teasers or official trailers now, all these years later, and it just goes to show that sure, they announced it, they said we're planning to make it, but it was way too early. So according to this report, it says as part of the overall cuts to the Xbox division and layoffs at Microsoft on Wednesday, the company is canceling the upcoming Everwild from Rare, sources tell Windows Central. Of course, these are all just rumors and reports. Take them with a grain of salt until we have gotten official confirmation. But if this many people are actually getting fired and are getting laid off, like it's inevitable that some projects are going to, yes, be canned as well. It says games industry journalist Jason Schreier of Bloomberg also shared that he'd heard of the cancellation as well. Everwild was first announced back in 2019 as a new IP from Rare, a UK studio with a long history of working on various projects, including the original Perfect Dark. In recent years, Rare has been known for its work on Sea of Thieves, a hugely successful multiplayer pirate game. And yeah, I mean, I do have a lot of love for Rare, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, we're talking about a game that was first announced in 2019. I and many other people didn't really have a lot of hype for this. Sure, I wanted it to come out and I wanted it to be good, but yeah, I mean, how are you supposed to truly get super hyped for something you hear of or see once and never again? It says Windows Central is investigating reports from our sources that Perfect Dark and Zenimax Online Studios' new online IP have been canceled as well. We are awaiting hard confirmation as Microsoft continues to let staffers know where the cuts are falling. Zenimax Online Studios' new IP hadn't been formally revealed, but Perfect Dark has had multiple trailers since its announcement. The most notable one happened back on June 9th, 2024, so just over a year ago, and this trailer was met with some criticism. I think for the most part, it did look pretty good, but yeah, I do think that Joanna's new design was a major turnoff for people and it led to a lot of backlash, but they had showed off gameplay, they had showed off the world, and sure, it did look a little bit maybe basic, I think is probably the best word to use. But at the same time, it wasn't the, oh, like 1 year until release trailer. This could still have been 2 or 3 years away. So we figured that they would still have room to improve upon what we were even seeing now. And it's just unfortunate that they keep announcing things and then they end up canning them. It's like they feel as though it's acceptable to have developers create a very small portion of gameplay specifically for a trailer to gauge how it's going to be received. It's like Knights of the Old Republic, even though we had only seen really a couple of seconds of a cinematic, there was so much hype behind it. But there was also a lot of worry and a lot of skepticism, and we've heard nothing on that project since. I think because they didn't like that initial round of backlash and kind of the response. And I think that we are going to see this happen more and more. We're going to see wild, crazy announcements, and then that's when the developers will actually decide, and these companies will actually decide if they're going to devote time and money into it. I think that's what they did here with Perfect Dark. Again, I'd love a new Perfect Dark remake. I would, truly, but I don't trust modern day companies with some of my favorite characters and some of my favorite franchises anymore. Like with KOTOR, that's the biggest example because it's one of my favorite games of all time. I want it to come out, I want it to be good, but when we knew that someone like Sam Maggs, who had previously during Gamergate 1 said that she was graped in GTA because she was trying to become part of the movement, was writing for it, was a senior writer, yeah, that really was a major turnoff for me and a lot of people. Going back to the article, though, it talks about how the initiative has been working on the game for many years in partnership with Embracer Group's Crystal Dynamics of Tomb Raider fame. If accurate without Perfect Dark, it remains to be seen what will happen to the initiative as a studio. They're probably going to be closed down. And let's be honest, Embracer is not a fan of keeping around dead weight. I mean, we saw Volition, a studio that had existed for 30 years, be shut down because of one bad game. Embracer can them. I mean, I had talked about this at length when it happened, but Volition, the studio behind the Saints Row series, had been closed with immediate effect, and the developer said in a statement that the shutdown was a result of restructuring a parent company, Embracer Group. They were around from 1993 until 2023. That's a shame because they had created a lot of good games, but on the flip side, they created the abomination known as the Saints Row reboot. So I can't really say I feel all that bad or I feel all that heartbroken because it was clear that they were headed in a wildly different direction than their fans wanted them to go in. But yeah, Embracer is not afraid to can a studio or two if that's what they have to do to save a few bucks. This is why I don't trust Embracer Group. This is why I always say be cautiously optimistic if a game is releasing from Embracer that you are excited for, because they will just cancel things one day, even if they're close to being done, if they can just save a few dollars off of it. And Embracer is invested in a lot of companies. They invest a little in a lot of different entities so they can get around regulators. Zenimax's new IP has been in development since 2018 under the codename Blackbird, and Windows Central understands it was a fantasy genre MMORPG to improve upon the success the firm saw in Elder Scrolls Online, which sounds really cool. Like, I love Star Wars The Old Republic, Mass Effect is really cool. I never really got into the Elder Scrolls Online, but I know that it's still around, it's still popular, there's still a lot of people who play it and invest time and money into it, which is cool. I would like a new fantasy genre MMORPG. I'm a giant fan of MMOs, but again, when something has been in development since 2018 and we're now in 2025 and we still haven't seen anything about it, how am I supposed to get excited for that? And a lot of people would also probably agree now, because all of this news is being shared on social media. A lot of people are voicing their thoughts. Some individuals are like, you might as well cancel them before they come out in their trash fires. Others are saying that they're very heartbroken by this news of Perfect Dark. It's canceled today. I'm selling all my Xbox Series consoles. I am done with this waiting BS. This company has $5 trillion and can't get a game made. I've been waiting for a Perfect Dark game since 2005. No way, please don't tell me Perfect Dark is getting canceled after that great showing from last year. Perfect Dark might be canceled too. We have lost. And of course, take everything with a grain of salt. There's no official confirmation, but when 9,000 people are getting laid off, it's inevitable that a few projects are going to be canceled as well. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye on this, but right now Xbox is going through some major changes, and it seems that there's going to be a lot of backlash surrounding these decisions. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.